What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Apex University. In today's module, we're going to cover exactly how to find suppliers. Now, in our last video, we discussed the type of professional setting that we must first have before even attempting to reach out to these vendors. Now we're going to cover exactly where these suppliers are hiding and how you can go ahead and find and approach them. Now, without further ado, before I actually break down how to find suppliers, there is something that I would like you guys to understand. What you guys see right here is a spider web of brands and their parent companies. It is very important to understand the logistics behind this business because this is everything that you must first understand before diving into it. You see right here we have tons of name brand products from different categories, and there's a particular reason as to why people that do Amazon wholesale are selling these type of merchandise. In any business, you're going to have refunds, but not that many people are refunding tube of toothpaste or their dog's pet treats. These type of products have a very low return rate, meaning more profit is left behind in your business. Not only that, they are consumable goods, meaning that a customer is most likely going to be purchasing it again sometime in the future. So having a supplier that gives you a steady products of these type of merchandise is key of running a sustainable, scalable business in the long run. So now that we understand that we have these manufacturers that play a big part in the type of brands and inventory that we want to have access to, understanding how the supply chain breaks down is crucial for us to know what type of suppliers we want to be reaching out to. So we see right here we have a manufacturer all the way at the top. Then we have what are known as redistributors. These are distributors for the manufacturers that buy on a repeat basis truckloads of quantities per week that distribute it to smaller distributors. And then these people are selling it to wholesalers, and wholesalers are selling it to retailers that go to the end consumer. So when you are just starting out and you don't have a ton of upfront capital, it is very important to find yourself some wholesalers and distributors. As you're climbing up the ladder, going to redistributors is how you actually have a sustainable 7-figure business here on Amazon. Most people would believe that working directly with the manufacturer is going to give you access to the best prices. That is not all true. Just because you're not buying the same type of volume that redistributors are doing. Because these individuals are supplying the ecosystem of the end retailer. They're able to buy much more than the monthly estimated sales on Amazon. They're supplying the United States. You are supplying the Amazon marketplace. That is a very fundamental piece of knowledge that I want you guys to understand. Now that we understand a bit more about the supply chain and the type of companies involved here, let's actually find exactly how we're going to go ahead and find the companies that we want to be doing business with. Now, over here we have our vendor CRM. Now, even though I discussed that these manufacturers are not companies that you want to be doing business with, it is very smart and strategic to still apply to them. And the actual messaging is going to be slightly different. Our objective is not for us to have an account with Unilever or Johnson & Johnson. Our objective is to ask them, hey, I know I can't buy from you. We're not going to start this way. On our next module, we actually have the scripts and frameworks and how we actually talk with different types of vendors. But the objective is for the manufacturers to give us a list of their distributors. And 9 out of 10 times, they're very happy to do so because that just means more money in the long run for them. So we're gonna reach out to Procter & Gamble and ask them, hey, I'm trying to buy these products in bulk. Who do you supply that I can buy from? They're going to give you a list of distributors. And from there, we actually find exactly who we need to be looking to start doing business with. And if these people deny you guys, then you ask them, who do you distribute to that I can buy from? Because at the end of the day, the supply chain doesn't lie and all the companies are going to profit eventually. So they are very happy to move business down the line until you find your sweet spot of MOQ and price and accessibility for you to do your next step, which is purchasing. Now that you understand a bit more about the framework and some of the logistics behind some of the big name brands that you know and love from Amazon, let's talk about how we're going to find other suppliers. Now, ChatGPT is much more than just a fancy tool for us to write fancy emails. We can actually tell it to give us a list of suppliers. So the first thing I'm going to do is give me a list of 100 grocery distributors. Just like this. And now we're going to look at this. This was much more than just a Google search. This has scraped the internet and provided us with 100 suppliers for the grocery category. And you could do this for all type of categories. I'm gonna go over here, I'm gonna type in beauty and personal care. And there we go. Just like this, we're now stockpiling lists of companies that we can actually go ahead and find. Now, before we get too deep into it, if this was not already a game changer, I'm sure none of you guys thought about using this. This is not only good for this, it does a lot more, but we're gonna go ahead and search all these companies up on Google, and I'm gonna show you guys how you do not waste time and energy applying for companies they're not going to do good business with. So I'm gonna open up Cisco Corporations first. And I'm also gonna go to Dot Foods, McLean, and let's see if we have some other ones that I wanna showcase. KE Distributors, yes. Okay, start opening up these companies. Now, at a glance, I'm just gonna quickly look, and I'm trying to find the name brand products that I want to sell. Now, just understanding from the image of this truck, and let's see, product categories, okay. So this company is primarily selling actual foods that are going in supermarkets. So we have meat, we have vegetables. These are not items that we typically want to be selling on Amazon. I don't think there's even a listing for onions aside from Amazon Fresh. So quickly, we're just gonna remove it off, just like that. Quickly looking and understanding a supplier based on their website is gonna save you a ton of time, because applying for these companies is time consuming. And we're not here to waste time. We're here to find the most highest leverage activities to give us the results we want. So now we have Dot Food. I'm gonna scroll down a bit. Okay, all right, so first off, they're working with 1,530 suppliers, and they have over 120,000 products. That's fantastic. I wanna see what products they are selling. So let's go ahead and find out. Maybe they have products, supplier lineups, okay. And look at this, we have, okay, so we do have some frozen stuff, then we do have some convenience stores. Okay, let me click on this, let's see what they give us. And look at this, manufacturers and brands. So Dot Food is a redistributor. This company, I can already tell, has a very high MOQ and will be a bit difficult to even open an account with them. That does not mean it's not worth a try, especially with the framework that we have. See, this company is going to deny you, and you're going to ask them, okay, if I can't buy from you, who can I buy from? Who do you supply? And they're going to give you a list of their distributors. And that's how we turn negatives into positives in this business. A lot of people get loss of momentum when they get rejected. And I think it's a human trait, but that does not mean in business that it is the end of the road. We have to understand why we got rejected in the first place so we can make those adjustments later. And let's actually keep on searching. So right here, the brands that they have. So we see Nature's Bakery, okay. Let's see if I can find something that I do know. Okay, we have Jello. That's a great listing for Amazon. It's the powder that turns water into jello, flavor jello. Look how many brands they have. This right here is the type of company that runs 7-figure Amazon businesses. This is the type of products that people beg to find when they open up an account. I could go on, but this is the website right here. This is where you guys can actually check it out. Let's see. I know they said they have some drug products. Okay, they have Rubbermaid, SC Johnson, Ziplocs. Okay. And it's alphabetical order, I'm assuming. No, it's not. Okay. Would have been a lot easier if it was. Q-tips. Unilever. So this company, it's actually funny. This was not planned. This company buys from Unilever. They buy from Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson. And they actually tell you right here who they're buying from and the brands that they have. This is a top quality supplier. You have Pepto-Bismol, you have Oral-B, Olay, Metamucil, Gillette, Always, Head and Shoulders. You get the picture. Now let's see this other. So this is definitely a company to add in your CRM. Now let's look at this company. I really like them. You see, we have warehouses, we have pallets, we have products, trucks. Now let's see what kind of products they're actually selling. They have 80 distribution centers. Okay. Sweet Tarts. This is another company to add in the list. This right here is a company that fuels your business. See, here's some of the brands they have. Hershey, Kellogg's. So this company is either a distributor or a redistributor. And we will find out once we actually apply with them what their MOQs are, if it is a company worth pursuing. And if the MOQ is high, again, don't be discouraged. You ask them, who do you sell to that I can buy? And they were more than happy to give you a list of their wholesalers or distributors. And then we have KeHE, which is a natural distributor that they have tons of warehouses across the United States. They have tons of product selection and lots of Amazon sellers actually use them. And it is one of the companies that I put on the list. It is number one in my opinion because they have a very low MOQ and tons of product selections for you to start sourcing from. They are a really good distributor even when it comes to lead time. Most of their products will arrive in 3 to 5 business days, meaning faster cash flow, meaning access to that inventory a lot quicker, and that is the type of companies that you want to be working with. You later want to find out where their locations are, and they have tons of locations. They have several districts. This is how this company works. They have districts. They have a New York district, a New Jersey district, Texas, California, Florida. So when we go to talk about our later modules about prepping and logistics, we literally go into details as to how to configure your business to having that type of framework where you are not losing days or expensive shipping fees and having just that be on lockdown. And that is how we're able to access more inventory. For example, I remember when I was first getting started and I was working with KeHE, they had I had 3 prep centers at the time that I was working with, one in California, one in Texas, and one in New York. That is the same ones that I actually talk about here in our modules. They're great companies to work with. So I opened 3 different districts with KeHE, and I had access to 3 different catalogs. Yes, some products were the same, but some states actually carried different products than the other ones based on the demand of a demographic. So just because of that, I was able to have access to more SKUs than I would have if I just had one. And also, if you're trying to buy one item and the New York warehouse does not have it, but the Texas one does, you buy it in Texas so you don't miss out on those sales. The reason why we are using also ChatGPT is because it is free and fast. In just a few seconds, I was able to find all these companies for you guys. Now, when you do find a good company, something that I would highly recommend is trying to find competitors. So we could go here and write, make me a list of KeHE competitors. Now, they did give me 100 grocery suppliers, and KeHE is a grocery supplier, so I'm pretty sure there's going to be up there. But right here we have direct competitors of KeHE. Threshold Enterprises, Unfi. So opening accounts with these distributors gives you also an upper hand. Now these, for example, KeHE is a $1 billion company, so negotiating might be a little bit more tougher, but if one supplier does not have certain SKUs, the other one might. If one supplier gives you price A, the other one might give you price B. So you can buy different SKUs from different suppliers, even though they both carry them. And that is how we are actually able to establish which companies we want to have looking out for and adding it in our CRM and how we stay organized. So this is the framework to actually finding distributors. Now, you can also use a company like Wholesale Central, which is a directory list of suppliers. So for example, we have food and groceries. Let's click on that just because we're on topic. And there are 32 companies that have paid to be in this directory list for you to actually view their profile, contact them, and find out more on what products they're carrying. So wholesale directory list is a great way and free way of finding suppliers. And our last way of finding suppliers is going to be trade shows. Now, trade shows can be a hit or miss unless you do proper planning. For example, some of the biggest ones, for example, ASD Market Week. This is happens in Vegas. I believe they do it 2 or 3 times a year. I've attended these shows before, and typically you're going to spend money and time going and attending to these establishments. For some people, they may be a bit more expensive to do that route, but for Amazon sellers that selling on Amazon has become their full-time business, this is an investment they do. And also it's different from their regular day-to-day, and it's still building their relationships and values with these companies. What I mean by that is, instead of spending weeks on end just placing orders, managing your account, now you'll have a chance to dress up, take a flight, relax for 3 to 5 days, talking and shaking hands. It adds to the business. And it is something that I highly recommend, especially if you're getting started, because it makes it more real. And when you realize that what this business can bring you, adapting to it and playing your part is how you actually are able to grow this business. So if you don't want to book a flight to Vegas and spend that money and time, maybe you do have a job. Something else that you can do is focus on a category. So I'm going to type in, because I do live in the state of New York, and you can do this in any state. What are some, let's see, beauty, trade shows, events in New York. You can write the state that you live in, or if you do have the money, if you do have the time, you can just write beauty trade shows in the United States. And here it's going to give you a list of the ones that are coming up. So what I mean by this can be a hit or miss, and by properly planning, is let's pretend, for example, International Beauty Show, IBS. I can go to the IBS website and reach out to them and find out which companies and brands are going to be attending this event. So we see here we have 400 companies. I can find out what those companies are going to be, who they're going to be. And from there, I can go to Amazon, research them. And let's say I do find a few brands that have tons of FBA opportunities. Now I know, okay, I'm going to attend IBS. I wrote down on my notepad the 5 or 6 companies that I want to approach, and I'm there to shake their hand. I'm there to meet them. I'm there to, they're spending money going to these events, setting up booths, because they want to find their customers, and you want to find your buyers. It is the perfect opportunity to actually go out there and talk face to face, not over the phone or not over the email. And if some of the companies that previously denied you, now you have a chance to show up again. And yeah, I reached out to you a few months ago. Oh, you're from that company. Yes, how are you doing today? You add that human touch. This business has a lot to do with the relationship building. I remember I had this one supplier that was selling me this candy that I always purchased a few pallets before Halloween. And our relationship was so great that he even called me weeks in advance, letting me know of the shipment. It's like, hey Steph, we're going to go ahead and place this order. How many units would you like to have? Great. I placed my order. The order came in on time, right before Halloween. I was able to sell that candy for a big profit. So relationship building is crucial, and something to keep in mind, you don't need hundreds of suppliers. Even 3 to 5 good ones can drive a business doing over 100,000 per month. It is finding them in the first place and knowing how to invest your time and money in which companies for you to have that best representation of sense of communication with them. Some companies, they're not going to give you the best prices from the beginning. You have to spend a few dollars, you have to spend and buy 1 or 2, POs before they even take you seriously, before you can ask them about certain products that they may or may not have. Some suppliers may carry a brand and have only 2 SKUs from that brand, but you're looking for the other 4 that they don't have in their catalog. You ask them about it. You place a preliminary purchase order of those units because they have access to a source that can get access to that brand, which you don't. So relationship building and strategically planning your communication with your vendors is key to expanding your catalog and having the right products that you want for you to resell. Now, in these 20 minutes, I explained a little bit more about the framework, a bit more about the type of companies and how they work, and most importantly, how we actually go about and finding the companies that we want to research with. And using platforms like Chat, Wholesale Central, these are free resources that you can utilize. And again, in our next module, we actually talk about the script and framework on how we're talking to these companies, because even rejections can turn into something positive. Even a no can result in the company giving you 5 or 6 other suppliers that they sell to that you can start building those relationships with. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two about finding suppliers. Not a hard thing to do. Trade shows are a great way to get started. They do take time and money to attend these things, especially if you're working. You're not going to be working the days you attend, but it is a great way to speak in person with some companies. Reverse sourcing, this is a great way. You go to Amazon, you find the brand that you're looking for, you find who the manufacturer is, you reach out to the manufacturer, they'll give you a list of distributors, and from there you move on to the next framework, which is what is my requirement to establish building this rapport and buying from you guys. And a no will turn into a yes or a maybe or hey, buy from these other companies that we sell to. And that opportunity is priceless. So I hope you guys learned a thing or two, and I'll see you all on the next video. Have a good one.